Today, my editors want me to watch this video from Penguin Zero, Charlie, Moist Critical. Let's check it out. Click the like button, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy my reaction.
I'm making this video with the hope that I am extremely
I'm assuming
wrong
this is
here,
anime
and
related.
in a few weeks, we can all look back and point
But
out
honestly,
how off I was. Like, I want this video to age horribly. But with my hand on a stack of Bibles, I don't think it will. One Punch Man Season 3
oh,
has
it is
started.
anime related. Okay.
2 episodes are out. The second one just aired. And you can probably still see my eyes are a bit red from the tears that I shed watching it and rubbing them away.
I would say, dude, here's the thing. I'm not a big outrage guy. I'm not a big, I can't believe it's animated, man. I'm more than anything, I watch these episodes and like, there's a part of me that like hopes, you know, like, oh, no, maybe it's just like this. So that way they can dedicate time to where it really matters, like a really important fight or something. But I think more than anything, I'm just disappointed that, like, I personally, I still maintain this. I didn't think that season 2 was all that bad. I thought that season 2 was actually a pretty decent adaptation of the manga. I think so. I maintain that. I still believe that. Obviously, season 1 is like an all-star. It's the dream team came together to make it. It's more than just like a Madhouse anime. It is like a passion project. Freelance people that do not work for Madhouse came together in order to make season 1. Okay, you know what I mean? It's not a realistic goal that should ever be replicable. Just know that about season 1. But I was hoping at least season 2.
Not because I witnessed peak, but because I witnessed P. Actual waste. One Punch Man is one of my favorite property. I've watched it weekly since season 1, and it's one of the very few anime that actually got me interested in reading the manga. I've talked about this before, but I typically don't read manga of property that already has an anime adaptation because I'd rather not know what's coming. I'd rather it be a surprise. Even though I typically don't mind if I get spoilers.
I just straight up don't even read manga anymore. I mean, listen, I'll be honest with you, and I've been honest. I've been saying this. This season of One Punch Man, I read it. I read up to through this whole arc, this whole entire arc. The villain. I forgot what this arc is called. It's the villain. It's something villain arc. But like they finished this arc like 2 years ago, and these chapters right now are from like 5 years ago, if not longer. Like One Punch Man releases not like weekly chapters. It takes a while for a One Punch Man chapter to drop.
Or whatever, because for me it's more about the journey than the destination. But still, I prefer to be surprised when it happens, oohing and awing and kicking my little legs in my chair.
Especially for me as a reactor, this is how I feel.
That unfolds. But One Punch Man is just so juicy to me. I love the world. I love its whimsical, wacky characters, and it is so full of spectacle. The fights are extraordinary in a beautiful manga. And I even really like in One's webcomic the way that he portrays things in there. I love everything.
I never read the webcomic
about One Punch Man. It is a beautiful manga that I can't help but sink my teeth into, even knowing full well it will spoil what comes up in the anime. I can't resist. And
well,
like I said, it's very uncharacteristic of me to do that. Typically the manga I read is on things that don't have real anime adaptations, like Berserk. Lord help us. It is so sad. Bit of a tangent. Berserk is an actual masterpiece of a series, which I'm sure all of you have heard before. People gushing grannies over Berserk for a good reason. It is a sin that it doesn't get a true, real anime adaptation past what they already did in the 90s. What happened in 2016, which we don't need to reopen old wounds.
I will say the Golden Age arc movies, I don't think they're bad. They're pretty good. But yeah, the 2016 anime, oof.
But I don't want to get too lost in the sauce. Point is, I don't typically read manga for things that have an anime. One Punch Man is the exception because I absolutely love the characters in the world there. Anyway, though, One Punch Man Season 1, I think, is one of the best seasons of anime ever produced.
This is true.
And throughout streams, people will often ask, you know, I've never checked out anime, what should I start with? And like clockwork, I will always recommend One Punch Man Season 1 as an entry point to the medium.
It's a pretty decent, it is, but I will say it'll be disappointment if you try to watch anything after season 1. Again, season 1 is this like gold standard, but it is an unachievable thing. For the most part, you're not going to find something at the level of what season 1 was. It's very, very rare that anything like reaches that level.
I think it is just so well done. From its pacing to its beautiful, breathtaking animation, unbelievable animation, the fights are incredible, but also just the character work is executed so well in season 1. It is.
Yeah. You know why by the way, you know why it's like an all-star, I say it's a dream team for the animation production, is because they brought in a really great director, and the director had connections. And the connections meant that he was able to create this at the level that it's created.
Extremely good. It is extraordinary. And season 2 rolled around, and it was a bit of a wet fart. That one was very disappointing to me, and I know a lot of people don't like my take on it, but I mean, it's how I feel about it. I think it is just such a huge step down.
It's going to be a step down. You can't where do you go from something being as like high quality, you know what I mean, as it is?
Not only in the obvious decline in animation quality, it's a different studio. It's JC Staff that took it over, which doesn't typically do something like One Punch Man, and they did not a great job. Season 2 did not have the greatest animation.
By the way, JC Staff has had some great shows. They've had some great shows. The thing is, and at the end of the day, I think this is what the real problem is. The real problem is it's not about the studio. It's not about all that stuff. It's about the production committee. Production committee saw the success of season 1. I don't know why the fuck season 2 took so damn long to do. And maybe it's just because of, you know, limitations placed on producers, placed on, you know, the staff by the production committee. But production committee fucked over season 2. Just like they're super fucking over season 3.
Was no longer fluid. It had some really wonky CG in there, and it just wasn't as great as season 1. It still had its moments because the characters are just so well done, like from the source material. It's hard to fuck that up, but man, did they try. It was still a fine season, but just such a huge step back. So when it was announced that season 3 of One Punch Man was once again going to be that same studio, I was immediately sad, but I tried to remain optimistic that maybe this time, given more time to cook, they could deliver something better.
No,
and now that we're 2 episodes in,
happen.
They're delivering something even worse. It is actually even worse. Season 2 got dubbed by the fans One Frame Man because there's so little animation. A lot of the times you're watching still images, basically just manga panels and a PowerPoint. Season 3 is even worse so far. I shit you not, in the latest episode, episode 2, there is 2 separate scenes where it is a still image with the slowest panning camera imaginable. I actually thought my TV froze. And
there's really slow pans in this second episode. It's just really disappointing. Like I said, I'm not like a big outrage guy. I'm not gonna just start yelling about how like terrible the animation is and shit, right? I watch anime with bad animation, but it is really disappointing for like a very like action heavy series to just not have that.
Goes on for like 20 seconds. Like it lingers for 20 seconds on just a still frame and some like narrator dialogue. And it's just inexcusable. How can something as good as the One Punch Man property get this treatment? It's incomprehensible to me. It's just insulting, especially considering some of like the most slop trash manga is getting beautiful anime adaptations.
Like I said, production committees. At the end of the day, it is all production committees. They control everything. They decide schedules, budgeting, all that shit. Like they're the ones that are doing that stuff. It's blame the production committees. Don't blame JC Staff. They have capable animators. Look at Don Machi. Don Machi has some good animation. You know what I mean? They have a show right now, the level 9999 unlimited gotcha backstab backwater dungeon, blah, 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 that shit, right? It's got some solid animation, but at the end of the day, it's just got a different production committee.
Like these actual nothing burger properties you've never heard of that are just actual garbage, bottom of the barrel slop, like. Last winter, the Wizard Lord transmogrified me into a paperclip and whisked me away to Vampireville, where all of these vampire babes shoved me up their ass and tasked me with defeating the Demon Lord.
That sounds like a title. Probably.
It's like, who even knows what that is? And then the anime rolls out and it's breathtaking. Like, why does that kind of garbage get that kind of passionate studio treatment, but something like One Punch Man, beloved, gets JC Staff spitting in our face?
I will say that show, the fake example he gives, yeah, it's beloved too by its fans. It's just that One Punch Man has a larger fan base, and a lot of the One Punch Man fan base is the result of season 1. which is like a further slap in the face to the fans. It's like, you give us this great product, hook us in. It really just shows like the greed and the zero fucks given by the production committees to literally like create this product that hooks in people, and then people basically have a better time with the series reading the manga, which at the end of the day kind of is what they want more than them watching the anime. Like if they could stop making the anime, they probably would. I think I genuinely think that they only make more seasons of the anime in order to kind of like remind people like, hey, yeah, don't forget about One Punch Man. But I just don't think that they give a fuck.
I don't understand it. Now, I want to mention, I don't think they're doing it on purpose. I just don't think this is the kind of studio that can do One Punch Man justice. They already proved they couldn't with Season 2, yet they're hopping back on the saddle again with Season 3 just to prove people even more right that they just can't do it. So why did they even get this work again?
And like I said, I don't think Charlie's super aware of this. Like, it's nothing to do with the studio. The studio is actually quite capable. They could do it. It's the production committee. They're very likely not given the amount, they're not allotted the amount of time necessary in order to create this. They've been working on other shows, and they will always be working on other shows. But then, they take the contracts and the production committee allows it. That's the thing. Production committee's like, oh yeah, we'll give it to you. You do the thing. We pay you less. You do the thing. You have no time to do it. I don't care. Still put it out. That's all that matters. I don't really give a shit. It's because the production committee, at the end of the day, they don't give a fuck about the product. That's the thing. The people that are backing it, creating the thing, like deciding on its schedule, its budget, and all that shit, they don't give a fuck.
Doesn't make sense. These 2 episodes have been abominable. Like, they are not good. Even outside of the obvious lack of animation, if you watch Season 3 of One Punch Man, you've probably noticed that there's pretty much no movement happening in this show.
It's
to
terrible.
call it an animation is being really loosey-goosey with the
Bro,
term.
starting episode 2, they had multiple pans. It almost felt like I remember when Tokyo Revengers came out, and they had to censor certain shit because obviously Tokyo Revengers, they use like the Manjiro symbol, which is essentially for the censored version. The censored version cut away all the time. And I remember watching the censored version that was on Crunchyroll, and I was like, this looks fucking terrible, because they would constantly cut away to nothing happening. You'd hear the show playing, and it would just be like this shitty scene of like, why are we looking at this? What is going on? Which is what we got at the start of episode 2. You know this fucking scene where we're just looking at windows? Why are we just looking at windows? What are we hiding? What are we cutting away from? What are we censoring? That's how terrible it was.
You're looking at pictures mainly with dialogue. You're not really seeing
It's just really
anything
disappointing,
move.
man.
Now, in the last episode here, at the very end, it's gearing up for a fight. And there is a little bit of movement at the very end there. Which is why I'm making this video now, because I believe
No. But this is where I will say the amount of movement that we get at the end of the second episode, yes, there's movement. There's movement. It doesn't look great. And it is a degraded art. It's not like a higher quality art. It doesn't look good.
In the next episode, it's going to follow the Season 2 formula, where that fight is mainly going to be impact frames and camera pan, but not actual action or animation.
Impact frames, some shakes. Boom.
Really, really praying, fingers crossed, I am wrong with that.
You're not going to be
In this
wrong.
episode,
You're going to be
I
right.
shit you not, there is even a scene where Garo, when he's going down a hill to break up these boys,
Yeah, a little
from being on
PNG
the
slide.
kid,
I didn't even notice this shit until afterwards, because I'm just so like, I'm watching the show, I'm just so disappointed. Like, I don't even, part of me is like barely paying attention to like the actual animation, because it feels hopeless looking at it.
is so janky. It is so gross looking. Now, I've read a lot of conflicting things about why this is in the state that it is. Apparently, like, there was a bunch of back and forth on who was going to get Season 3, and it ultimately ended up in the hands of JC staff, but it took like a prolonged period of time, so they didn't have a lot of time to get in the laboratory and work on something of high quality here, so this is what they shat out.
Production committee.
I don't really think that's an excuse, to be honest. Like, something needs to change in that case, where scheduling is better, or like extend the deadline instead
They
of
don't want to. They want to make the money now. It's the production committee.
just like
Greed.
pump out whatever just to, slap it on screen and ship it when it's clearly not in a state for that. This looks so undercooked. It is just half-baked. And to be honest, at this point, I'm not even sure if my anger is misplaced on JC staff or if it really is just like Bandai refusing to invest real money behind this project because maybe they're just so content with mediocrity. They know this IP is so popular, people will watch it no matter what. So what's the point in delivering something special? Like,
That's
I think
it.
that's equally possible as
That's very-
well.
that's
Like,
what it
maybe
is.
They're more to blame than JC staff. Like,
100%
maybe they just
are.
weren't given enough time or enough resources to make something
And not
good.
just Namco Bandai. There's like a lot of moving parts when it comes to this. The production committee is not just Namco Bandai. It's a lot of different people, a lot of different companies and stuff involved in it.
I'm not really sure, but it is just tragic. And I don't think season 3 is going to get better. I actually think it's only going to get worse with the
It will.
fights based on these first 2 episodes. But again, I'm making this video hoping that I'm wrong, and it could be something that we look back on and be like, wow, Charlie's no Baba Vanga here. Look at this prediction being super fucking wrong.
No.
Well, in that case, it'd make me exactly like Baba Vanga, to be honest. But point is, I'm hoping that all of this is just water under the bridge over the next few weeks as season 3 of
Sorry,
One Punch
bro.
Man continues, and maybe it gets incredible and it just goes
won't.
ballistic. Maybe they just wanted the first 2 episodes to look like shit as part of a, galaxy brain plot to make people think it's going to be a bad season, but really it's going to be the best season.
It won't.
It's hard copium from me here, but whatever. What happened to the show I love, man? To see where One Punch Man season 1 was to where this is now, a decade later. It's been a decade, by the way, and this is only the 3rd season, and it looks this bad. It's just infuriating. It really is. Anyway, though, can't wait for episode 3 here of One Punch Man season 3. Maybe that's the one where it's...
It's okay, because here, at the end of the day, yeah, One Punch Man's shit. The anime. But Gachiakta, highly recommend. It's fucking great. Highly recommend Gachiakta. One Piece, obviously. Uma Musume, for those of you that don't know. The Horse Girls. It's pretty hype. The racing and shit. Regardless of how One Punch Man turns out. Also, check out some of the stuff on Saturday, man. We got some really great shows out here. Look into other stuff, man. When one IP fails, which this IP failed. It started off great. The IP's done. Just know that. It's not going to ever reach the same level as season 1. If that's what you're expecting, it never will happen again. Check out some of these other shows, bro. Check out some of these other shows. Ask me for a recommendation down in the comment. There's a show that's basically Among Us. All right? It's basically Among Us. Really well animated. And it's called Genosha. Check out that show. Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider has better action than this. And just as funny. If not funnier than One Punch Man. Till next time, make sure you all keep it fresh. Peace.